Now, regular people had a say in BRICS choices, not only officials. That never happened before. It went down a handful of days back in Rio de Janeiro. Some experts didn't see it coming, yet this might change the way global partnerships work in real life. That's only one out of four big changes lately showing things are moving differently. One key update after another has rolled in recently, hitting at a real change in direction. Each step adds up, pointing toward something new taking shape. These shifts didn't happen overnight, they built quietly but clearly. I am examining four significant BRICS developments from late 2025. These tales show what this growing group hopes to do, also the tough spots it runs into. This time, we will go over the following stuff. First, the People's Summit in Rio and what civil society involvement actually means for BRICS governance. Second, the Counter-Terrorism Conference in Moscow and the push for coordinated security frameworks. Third, healthcare initiatives building traditional medicine with modern science. Fourth, the ongoing shift toward local currency trade, particularly in agricultural commodities. By the end, you will have a clearer picture of where BRICS is heading and what obstacles remain. The first People's BRICS Summit opened December the 1st in Rio de Janeiro. Representatives from popular movements, trade unions, and universities gathered to dialogue with BRICS governments. This formalized the Popular Civil Council, first recognized in the 2024 Kazan Declaration. Dilma Rousseff, president of the New Development Bank, called participants the architects of the future. She emphasized that when BRICS created the NDB 10 years ago at Fortaleza, it was declaring the Global South wouldn't passively accept externally imposed models. Now that principle extends to civil society. The Council discussed economic cooperation, multilateralism, and reducing dollar dependence. 7 thematic groups delivered recommendations to BRICS governments in July. So, here is what really matters. Does this actually create genuine accountability, or is it just for show? The reason this counts is that global groups usually get flack not to relating to ordinary people. If BRICS earns trust step by step, then it tackles a genuine flaw in how world affairs are managed. You getting it done matters most. Do governments really use advice from citizens when making rules? Only time will tell. For now, BRICS is slowly building systems for studying human behavior and societies. The 14th team, focused on humanities and social sciences studies, got together in the Russian city of Sochi. Specialists point out social sciences were left behind in BRICS setup. Sustainable development requires understanding social dynamics, not just technical solutions. This two-part method, local opinions mixed with solid research, might boost how BRICS makes choices. Or maybe it will build extra layers that barely affect real decisions. Time will tell. The 2025 BRICS Plus Counter-Terrorism Conference opened December the 3rd in Moscow. Officials from BRICS Plus nations, along with experts from other international bodies like the United Nations, CIS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and CSTO, discussed counter-terrorism strategies. The focus included terrorist financing, extremism, and the misuse of information technologies. This builds on the BRICS counterterrorism strategy adopted in 2020. Russian officials at the conference made strong claims about Western approaches to terrorism. They argue the West uses terrorism for geopolitical purposes rather than genuinely fighting it. These are serious allegations that reflect deep distrust. Whether you find them credible likely depends on your broader geopolitical perspective. What is clear is that BRICS members want their own security coordination mechanisms. Some analysts argue BRICS needs a formal Security Council to coordinate defense and protect against what they call hybrid threats. This includes information warfare, and economic pressure. The challenge here is real. How do countries with different strategic interests, like China and India or Russia and Brazil, create unified security structures? BRICS members don't always agree on major international issues. India and China have border disputes. Brazil and Russia have different relationships with the West. Building effective security coordination across these divides is genuinely difficult. But the attempt reveals something important. These nations want alternatives to existing security frameworks they view as Western dominated. What do you think? Can countries with competing interests really build collective security, or will national priorities always come first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Before we continue, a quick note. This channel isn't funded by major organizations or corporate interests. We depend on viewers who value independent analysis of global developments. If this content helps you understand what's happening beyond mainstream narratives, consider supporting us. Check the description for ways to contribute. Now let's talk healthcare and data. Here is something that doesn't get much attention when people talk about BRICS: healthcare. But right now, there is significant movement happening. India is preparing to host the second World Health Organization Global Summit on Traditional Medicine on December 17th and 19th, 2025 in New Delhi. This isn't happening in isolation. It's the culmination of months of groundwork, including the BRICS CCI Healthcare Summit back in August, that established bridging tradition and innovation as a core theme. India is trying to blend old healing ways like Ayurveda, yoga, Unani, Siddha, or even homeopathy into today's scientific methods. Prime Minister Modi sees AYUSH as a base for worldwide health success, mixing tradition with broader reach, not just policy talk, but practical steps forward, linking local healing with international needs, using routes to grow wider care networks. So far, 170 countries that belong to the World Health Organization say they use traditional healing methods. India is partnering with the World Health Organization through the Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Jamnagar. Meanwhile, China implemented a trial visa waiver for Russian citizens from September 2025 to September 2026. Medical tourism surged as a result. Clinics in Hanchun and Inner Mongolia expanded services: physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, acupuncture for Russian patients. Russian entries by car through Inner Mongolia increased 60% year on year in the first 2 months. Russians comprised over 85% of visa-free arrivals during that period. December the 3rd saw Shanghai officials roll out fresh rules for digital health firms. They focus on online safety while touching on ways personal data stays protected. Firms must get clearer permission upfront. After that, they are allowed to collect personal health info. The rules here are stricter than in many places, yet sometimes differ a bit. This solves a genuine problem. So, what person really controls your health data? In times when info equals control, guarding health records against misuse by companies or overseas powers is key. Yet privacy isn't just a concern, it's a need. While hackers grow bolder, weak systems stay risky because trust fades fast if secrets leak out. So safety can't wait until later. BRICS nations are asserting digital sovereignty in healthcare. How often these rules actually get followed is a whole different story. Yet the goal shows data control fits within wider self-rule plans. Let's talk about something everyone cares about: food. BRICS nations are making major moves in agriculture and food security, and they're doing it outside traditional dollar-based systems. Russia is on track to export 75 to 80,000 metric tons of pork to China in 2025. That's nearly double the 40,000 metric tons exported in 2024. Crucially, these transactions settle in yuan or rubles, not dollars. China recently granted South Africa access to its $23.3 million agricultural market. This benefits South African farmers, especially as China halted shipments from the US amid trade tensions. Iran and Egypt launched major agricultural projects in November 2025. Iran is creating a joint rice research center with China to develop drought-resistant varieties yielding over 6 tons per hectare. Egypt is establishing what it calls the world's largest date plantation, 2.3 million palm trees in Toshka and Al Owainat. Egypt already produces over 19% of global dates. Trade between Iran and South Africa is expanding in food commodities too. Iran exports pistachios, saffron, and dates. South Africa supplies maize for animal feed, helping stabilize Iranian meat prices. Russia even exported over $4 million in agricultural products to Brazil from January to October 2025, including 24 tons of dried fish and vodka, which Russia hadn't previously supplied to Brazil. Now, here is where it gets interesting for the broader economy. India UAE trade exceeded $100 billion the first time. Under their Comprehensive Economic Agreement, which took force in May 2022, they aim for $100 billion in non-oil, non-precious metals trade by 2030. What does this mean? BRICS members are building trade relationships that bypass dollar-dominated systems. This isn't the collapse of the dollar. US currency remains dominant globally, but it is diversification. Countries are creating alternatives so they have options. The question isn't whether the dollar will disappear tomorrow. It won't. The question is whether a more multipolar currency system emerges over time. These trade flows suggest that's happening gradually. BRICS is attempting something ambitious, building alternative structures for governance, security, healthcare, and trade. The success are real. The People's Summit happened, trade volumes are growing, healthcare cooperation is expanding. But challenges remain enormous. BRICS members have competing interests, face internal economic pressures, and building parallel institutions is expensive and complex. Here is the honest assessment. BRICS represents a genuine shift toward multipolarity. Countries with over 50% of the world's population are saying they want different rules. But we are watching the early stages of a long process where success isn't guaranteed. We are witnessing an experiment in building alternative global structures. The developments we have covered show serious intent, but intent and outcome aren't the same thing. Here is what to watch. Do civil society recommendations actually influence policy? Do security frameworks function when member interests diverge? What's your take? Are we watching the rise of a genuine alternative system, or is this more continuity than change? Are you optimistic? The comment section is yours. Thanks for watching.